can we wait about 5 minutes? right, are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mayor Pro Tem Laura Spear, filling in for the Mayor Mark Clark, who is absent this evening. It's May 7th, and I'm calling the meeting to order. Please stand and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have roll call, please?
Mayor Clark, Mayor Pro Tem Spear,
Here.
Councilmember Johnson,
Present.
Councilmember Neal,
Present.
Councilmember Mortensen,
Here.
Councilmember Crabtree,
Here.
Councilmember Delaney.
Present.
All right, we have a couple of proclamations. One is for Mental Health Month. Whereas now, more than ever, we must understand that the health of our minds is as important as physical health, and whereas 1 in every 4 people are affected by mental illness, with more Weld County residents having reported mental health challenges such as depression, anxiety, or other mental health conditions that in years past, and whereas Evans residents can find recovery through a variety of outpatient, residential, and critical walk-in crisis support options through Weld County's Community Mental Health Center, North Range Behavioral Health, and whereas Evans residents are healthier because of North Range's commitment to preventing hospitalizations, incarcerations, trauma, suicides, and substance use disorder through collaboration with community health centers, school districts, human service, law enforcement, United Way, and many others. And whereas National Mental Health Month is observed every May to raise awareness about behavioral health, recovery, and hope, the importance of prevention, and the factors that contribute to mental wellness. Now, therefore, I, Laura Spear, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Evans, do hereby proclaim May 2024 as Mental Health Month in the City of Evans, and call upon the citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools to recommit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of behavioral health and understanding the need for appropriate and accessible services for all citizens. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the official seal of the City of Evans, Colorado, this 7th day of May, 2024. And I think we have someone from North Front Range Behavioral Health, Dana Johnson. Would you like to accept this? All right. We have another proclamation here. One moment. Our second proclamation for the evening. Is the 55th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, which is May 5th through the 11th of 2024. Whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal services in all, And whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations, and whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now therefore, I, Laura Spear, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Evans, do recognize the week of May 5th through 11th, 2024 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, Julie Barnett, our Deputy City Clerk, Amanda Bowman, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the official seal of the City of Evans this 7th day of May 2024. And we have our municipal clerk that we absolutely are thankful for, and that does a great job to receive this proclamation.
Say cheese.
Just thank you. I appreciate all your faith in me, and I hope to be here for many more years to come to serve you.
Thank you.
It's a longer way down than what it looks like when someone else does it. Okay. So before I move on to the audience participation, I do want to recognize that this was the original night that we were going to have the RV ordinance discussion. And I do want to make the announcement, just in case some people are here to talk about it, that ordinance was repealed a few months ago. However, during this portion of the audience participation, we still allow any kind of citizen comments for 2 minutes, and anybody who would like to speak on this subject or any other subject is more than welcome to come up at this time. This is the audience participation. Okay. Do we have anybody online?
No, Mayor.
Okay. So moving on then, since I don't see anybody who wanted to talk during the audience participation, we will move on to the consent agenda. And the consent agenda has the approval of the April 16th, 2024 City Council meeting minutes.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
we need to do the approval of the agenda.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I see. City Clerk, do we have any changes to our agenda tonight?
No, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the agenda has been approved. All right, now we will move on to the consent agenda. With the approval of the April 16th, 2024 City Council meeting minutes.
I move to approve the April 16, 2024 City Council meeting minutes as presented.
I second.
Okay, the motion has been seconded and is, sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Got to work out the nerves. All right, so now we're moving on to new business, consideration of ordinance number 819-24, and ordinance amending section 1.16.010 to remove the possible sentence of jail for convictions under the Evans Municipal Code. First reading. We'll have the staff report.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Spear, members of City Council. I'm Drew Lyman, Deputy City Attorney. This matter is brought resulting from an April 2nd, 2024 work session in which City Council directed staff to draft an ordinance that would remove the possible penalty of incarceration from the municipal code. This issue arises from a 2020 state law that requires Colorado municipal courts to provide indigent defendants that are facing a possible sentence of incarceration with court-appointed defense counsel. As we talked about at the April 2nd work session, this affects 5% of the cases that come into the municipal court. The majority of cases are not affected. Those would be cases involving children, animal at large, where children are defendants, animal at large cases, and most traffic offenses. So the majority, 95% of the cases that the municipal court sees would not be affected in any way by this ordinance. However, for those 5%, the penalty of incarceration is rarely, if ever, opposed. In my nearly 5 years as a prosecutor, I have not seen that penalty imposed. A couple of notes on this, though. One is that the court's ability to issue bench warrants for failures to appear in those 5% of cases that would be affected will not be altered by this. So the court still could issue a bench warrant for a failure to appear under the Colorado municipal court rules as well as under our municipal code. In addition, I understand from informal discussions I've had with the district attorney's office that the county court will impose incarceration. Of course, it's equipped with court-appointed counsel for cases such as crimes against persons, which are in our municipal code, but also have corresponding state law provisions. So those cases could be written into the county court. With that, that concludes my remarks, and I'm available for any questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
Straightforward. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward, and I think that we needed to make it perfectly clear that although we are not going to handle those cases here in our municipal court, that they will still be handled and in the county court. All right. Since there are no questions,
I move to approve ordinance number 819-24 to amend sections 1.16010 and 10.040 of the Evans Municipal Code to remove the penalty of incarceration on first reading.
Second.
okay, it has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 819-24 to amend the sections 1.16.010 and 10.04.040 of the Evans Municipal Code to remove the penalty of incarceration on first reading. All those approve, say aye.
Aye.
All those oppose, same sign. All right, motion's been passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we have number 5, consideration of the 2024 asphalt reconstruction project contract renewal. Let's hear from staff.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Mark Oberschmidt, City Engineer. This is an extension of last year's contract with Martin Marietta to do our mill and overlay and reconstruction project. Last year they performed awesome and they did a lot of great work, and we're expecting the same this year. We're looking to do 15th Avenue over here by Centennial and a couple other small streets. We had only about $600,000 in the budget for this year. So we're hoping to get that done, and then moving forward, we'll see what else we can do for next year. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
I have none.
All right, with that, I would entertain a motion.
I move to award the 2024 asphalt reconstruction project contract to Martin Marietta in the amount of $555,915 with an approximate 10% contingency to be used with city manager approval for a not to exceed amount of $612,000 and authorize the mayor's signature on the contract.
Second.
All right, I have a motion to award the 2024 asphalt reconstruction project contract to Martin Marietta in the amount of $555,915 with a 10% contingency to be used with the city manager approval for a not to exceed amount of $612,000 and authorize the mayor's signature on the contract. All those for this, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Right, the motion has been approved. Number 6, we have consideration of inspection services contract for the 37th Street Phase 2A.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council. So this is 37th Street, Phase 2A, as you know, is under construction. Our guys have been out there maintaining inspections, but we'd like to have somebody out there full-time just because it's such an important project. With the roundabout, we had somebody out there full-time, also adding with the documentation. Having somebody out there full-time allows us to have a little better control of the project and somebody who's got eyes on that can call us immediately if something's going wrong or if something's happening where the contractor may be busy trying to solve the problem. This person can call us and we can respond. So that's why we got 4 proposals. One of them was tossed because we had established an initial budget of about $125,000 and they were over it. The 3 other proposals of the 3, the GeoCal was the low bidder. Their inspector had the most experience. And we met him and actually talked to him to get a better feel for his experience and what he's done in the past rather than just reading his resume. And we feel good that he can handle it for us, and we'd like to recommend awarding that contract, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions?
I do have one question, Mayor Pro Tem. The one thing I'm a little concerned about is GeoCal, their hour estimate. I mean, because there's such a wild difference between what people bid for how many hours they were going to have to bill us. Is that any part of concern to you that they won't be able to complete it in that amount of hours?
Their hours actually jive with what we anticipated, whereas the higher end, Sanderson Stewart, they had a lot more hours, way more than we had anticipated, because this is really just somebody day to day who's tracking progress, watching the curb and gutter get installed, watching the pipe get installed, documenting the progress. So there's not, and this is local money, so we don't have as much paperwork like we do with federal money. So that it's really, the hours are in line with what we anticipated. So that was the first thing I checked when I looked at their dollar and hours.
Perfect, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? I just have a comment. Being witness to some of the previous construction projects that we had, and then the roundabout where we did have someone on site, it was night and day in the difference. So I'm glad that you brought this to us, and I'm looking forward to having this project completed quickly. So with that, I would entertain a motion.
I move to award the inspection services contract for 37th Street Phase 2A in the amount of $61,740 with a contingency of $8,260 with an approximate 13% to GeoCal be used only with city manager approval for a not to exceed amount of $70,000.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to move forward to award the inspection services contract for 37th Street Phase 2A in the amount of $61,740 with a contingency of $8,260, approximately 13% to GeoCal to be used only with city manager approval for a not to exceed amount of $70,000. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is passed. Thank you.
And hopefully, Mark, will have less rain delays than the roundabout.
All right. Number 7, now we have consideration of a professional environmental services contract to DAPTA for City of Evans Brownfields Community-Wide Assessment Grant. And we'll hear from staff.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Spear and members of council. Here this evening for consideration of professional services contract for the Brownfields Community-Wide Assessment Grant. Just to give a little bit of history of what it is, it's kind of been passed upon multiple administrations now. Back in '21, city staff did apply for the Brownfields grant. June of '22, there was a work session held. They discussed the key task items of the grant and notified you all that the grant was awarded to the city of Evans. In October of '22, there was a work session held just to kind of go over the next steps and that they had met with that. Now we're going to fast forward to '24, kind of where we're at today. So kind of a gap there. We got a better understanding of it, and in February of 2024, we went out to request for proposals, and then we're here this evening for consideration. So some of you that are new to this, the Brownfields Assessment Grant will cover about 1.5 miles of the Highway 85 corridor running from Highway 34 to the South Platte River. And then it goes about 1/2 mile east and west as well. So you can see the map is kind of the identified area. If there's other areas that we identify, depending on money spent, number of assessments and things that we do, this can broaden a little bit. And just to remember, this is 100% a voluntary program. So once we hire this contractor, we will do community engagement. We will outreach to landowners along this corridor, both businesses, residential, commercial, and see if they're interested in taking part in this program. So as we discussed back for the task when they wrote this grant, really there's 4 main tasks that they're going to do for us to have a successful grant program. And really this contract that we're approving tonight, they really are going to serve as our project manager. They are going to take the bull by the horns with this one and really do the majority of the work. City staff is really just here to support. Community engagement, like I talked in our economic development recap a couple months ago, I'm really excited about this. I think it's an opportunity for us to outreach, to get to know our business owners as well as our residents along this and see how we can kind of support them. In addition to that, we'll do some area-wide planning. I know we've done planning along the corridor for a long time. Kara Roberts, our economic development specialist, has been at a couple sessions and conferences for just what this Brownfields is. And I know we're all still trying to wrap our heads around it a little bit, but the successes that some of these other communities have had with this really have shown some revitalization within some of their blighted areas. So very excited about that and see if we can knock down some of those barriers. This is really just a stepping stone. We're not going to see beautification from step 1. From this Brownfields assessment, it is just one that we can kind of piggyback on and continue to move forward. And then with this grant, and through the process, we will do some environmental assessments. 19 phase 1s, that's just kind of coming in, scraping some things, seeing how things are. If there's additional work to be done or evaluation, then we have opportunity for 6 phase 2s. And then they're gonna develop a plan for 5 of these sites that can just kind of help them look at some long-range plans and goals kind of as we move forward. So with that, like we said, we went through the procurement process and sent out a request for proposals. We received 8 proposals for this contract. I had members from economic development, community development, and finance. It really is a big project, and grants really do affect everybody. So I wanted to make sure that we hired the right firm that we all felt comfortable with. And we evaluated them on their personnel, their availability, how they handle multiple projects. Like this is gonna be, not only that they're gonna be different projects that they're doing with other municipalities, but just working with 19 phase 1s is gonna be a ton within our community. And then most importantly, to me, is specific experiences and references. So from the 8 that we received, we narrowed it down to 3. And we brought those in for interviews, and that was Adapta, Ayers Associates, and Terracon. This really was valuable experience. We got to kind of meet them, meet the key players on that. As we did this, Adapta really did emerge as the top one that really showed project understanding and really had great past experience. The grant received was for $500,000. $493,000 of that will go to this contract this evening, specifically going to Adapta. The other is $7,000 that is for training, education, things like that that we can do to better ourselves and better understand the grant process through that. So though there's no grant or cash match for this grant, there is a preliminary budget revision that would take place of the 500. We would put the 500,000, draw from that, and then reimburse from the grant. So with that, like I said, we reached out and checked references, and everybody speaks very, very highly of Adapta and with their interview process and their experience with similar projects, staff would recommend Adapta for this contract this evening. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Traditionally, how fast are we reimbursed for grants?
This, they do quarterly, so we will, when I talked to Jackie, I kind of asked that same question. This is the first process that we haven't received the funds, and so we're drawing down from our budget revision. So it'll be quarterly submittals that we do for reimbursement.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
I have a question. Again, we're figuring out the scope of this and what that looks like. I know one of the things I had brought up previously is, the city having some sort of an environmental sustainability plan of some sort, like for the city, like even included within like the master plan. They have a lot of experience in that area.
Sure.
And so, considering it's a large amount of money, I just want to make sure if we can utilize them with possible ideas for something like that, since they're, in essence, that's part of like this grant process anyway. So seeing how we can possibly structure that within our city.
Sure, and I think that's where that planning process, where we can do those workshops and really identify what we want the city to look like now and in the future. And I think that's a big piece that we can address during that time.
Just a general comment, Jeff. A lot of times it depends on the government agency and how much documentation they require before you get for the reimbursement. So some of them got miles of paperwork you got hoops that you have to jump through to get your reimbursement.
So once again, Brian, what are we hoping the end result is after we glean the information from this grant?
I really think with Adapta's experience of actually seeing development after. So I'm not looking as, hey, we're going to go in and we're going to get environmental, and we're going to identify potential contaminants, or if somebody's interested in selling, this gets them a leg up. Like, this is a great selling tool for somebody that they can show that their land is clean from environmental contaminations. So I think that's one big piece. I don't know that we have a ton along that corridor. So for me, it's that planning process to engage the community, to figure out what support they may need, to see what next steps can happen from that. With the 5-step plan, or the 5 plans that we can put into place for goal setting for a specific site, I think is going to be vital as well. Again, from what I've understood, I'm really trying to wrap my head around this, but what Kara brought back was really that this is a stepping stone and really is a benefit to communities for removing blight and really bettering a corridor that can be revitalized for development.
And for the people that maybe are joining this for the first time, this assessment is an environmental assessment?
A portion of this, yes. If you are interested in it, a portion of this on your land can be an environmental assessment, yes. So it would be from the EPA is a portion of this, or is where it's funded from. The Environmental Protection Agency is where this is funded from. So they're really trying to clean up, provide opportunities for landowners to, again, it doesn't clean it up immediately, and there's no impact. Really, there's not going to be any repercussions for this, It really is trying to find ways to assist landowners that may have contaminations for long-term success.
I'm just curious, also considering it's along, the 85 corridor. A lot of, rain has been a huge factor, especially when it comes to infrastructure and drainage.
Yep.
And stuff like that. I mean, that also falls under this.
Absolutely.
So I hope to see that addressed with this. And I'm not, I think that would be one of the biggest concerns for that specific area on how to mitigate that issue for business owners to ensure they have that sustainability or that longevity within that area and keeping them there.
And that's what's so nice, that we have a planning portion. Like $170,000 of this, just over that, is specifically for planning. So we can identify those things and figure out ways that we can be successful for improvements.
Is this going to negatively impact any of our existing businesses or landowners?
Not at all. I mean, it is 100% voluntary, so they can take part if they feel like they want the environmental assessments done. They can sit on the planning process just for the corridor improvements. But really, we're just going to engage with them and find out who's interested in this. From there should be just relationship building and seeing what we can do to support.
Are we gonna, sorry, just one last thing. For the outreach component, are we gonna, utilize our social media to ensure that the business owners within that area know that this is happening?
Right.
So they can partake and be a part of the decision making?
Yeah, it'll be even more specific. We'll try to get out and actually meet these people on social media. We'll create a website specifically for this to educate them. We'll identify these workshops, again, for education. And really this is a benefit for what we can do and how we can help support that corridor.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions or council discussion? All right. Then I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve the contract with Adapta for professional environmental services for the Brownsfield Community-Wide Assessment Grant for an amount not to exceed $493,000 and authorize a budget revision in the amount of $500,000 for the project to be reimbursed from the grant.
Second.
I have a motion to approve the contract with Adapta for professional environmental services for the Brownfields Community-Wide Assessment Grant for an amount not to exceed $493,000 and authorize a budget revision in the amount of $500,000 for the project to be reimbursed from the grant. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, the motion's been passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're moving now to 8, City Manager Report.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, I have a couple things for you tonight. Now that we are in the planning phase for the 2025 budget, I want to share with the City Council that the City of Evans has been awarded the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for the 2024 budget that we are currently in by the Government Finance Officers Association. This marks the 6th consecutive year the city has received this award. The Distinguished Budget Presentation Award represents the highest honors for budget presentation and quality. I want to express my appreciation to Finance Director Jackie Trout and our entire team of finance professionals for their hard work and dedication to the City of Evans. A significant amount of work goes into producing the annual operating and capital budget, and earning the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award is a representation of the finance team's commitment to excellence. The second thing I have tonight is just a reminder for the City Council. We received 46 applications for the RV Ad Hoc Committee, which were distributed to the City Council yesterday for review. Ward 1 had 11 applications, Ward 2 had 28 applications, and Ward 3 had 7 applications. If you would, please review the applications and submit your committee nominations to Curtis by the close of business on May 13th. That'll be next Monday. Please submit at least 2 names. That way we can have that available for inclusion on the May 21st City Council agenda. And that is all I have tonight.
Congrats for the finance team and staff. Yay!
All right, City Attorney?
So I actually have a report tonight. A couple things under the heading of current events. The U.S. Supreme Court addressed an impacts fee case and came down with a decision on April 12th. It involved a transportation impact fee in California, and the California court upheld the transportation fee, and the U.S. Supreme Court reversed that decision. So at first we were worried that we have to worry about our impact fees, and the short answer is no, not yet. The court said that we adopt our impact fees through what's called a legislative process. I don't know if you guys recall, but we get a study done, and then we bring it to you guys, you look at it, and adopt an ordinance implementing the fee, whether it's a transportation fee, Parks and Rec, whatever it is. What the court said was that if you're going to do that, you can still do that, but you need to meet a certain test. It's called the Nolan-Dolan test, and it has two parts. You have to show that there's an essential nexus between the fee and the government's land use interest, and you have to show that the amount of the fee is roughly proportional to the impact. So the court sent it back to California and said, do that analysis. So what that means for Evans is that we're going to sit down, and I'll work with Jackie on this, and look at the studies that you got for each of your impact fees, make sure that they applied the Nolan-Dolan test, and so that they're okay. So that's the first item. The second item is a legislative matter, and we'll probably have more to talk to you. I'm sure we'll have more to talk to you about the legislature. Their last day is tomorrow, and the city clerk has been following several of those bills. So, but this is one that's already been adopted. And it is a limitation on what they call non-functional turf and artificial turf. Essentially, it says in order to conserve water that's being used to irrigate non-native grass, and also because of adverse environmental effects of artificial turf, starting in January 1st of 2026, there will be substantial limitations on where you can use those materials. Specifically, it does not affect residential developments, but you cannot use non-functional turf or artificial turf. Well, I guess they defined it the other way around. First, they defined what's functional turf, and functional turf is anything that is used for civic, community, recreational purposes, playgrounds, sports fields, picnic grounds, amphitheaters, portions of parks, and playing areas of golf courses. Non-functional turf is anything else. And the way that they said you can figure out if it's non-functional turf is if it's the only time that you walk on it is when you mow it, that is probably non-functional turf. And starting in 2026, you can no longer have non-functional turf except in residential developments. So what that means for Evans is that by January 1st of 2026, we'll need to adopt some ordinances to implement those restrictions. No limitation on the use of native grasses, however. So, and that's all I've got.
Good. Next, we have council discussion. Is there anything that the council would like to bring up at this time?
I had an emergency at my property today, and I just want to thank the police officers, the EMTs, the Greeley, LaSalle, Evans, what was the other one I mentioned?
Front Range Fire Rescue.
That one. I just want to thank all of them because they were all very professional but very sympathetic to my tenants, and we did have Red Cross even come out, and they tried to help us as much as they could with, insurance, getting someone to help with the building. So I just want to thank everybody that came out. So
Thank you. Sorry that you went through that.
I'm so sorry.
Anybody else have anything they would like to discuss during this time of council discussion? Ally?
Oh, I just want to bring up, I want to bring up I had a constituent reach out to me in regards to a park policy stating there's no piñatas in parks. A few of us, I believe, looked at the city code, and it's not in there that they cannot not have a piñata at the park. And so we're uncertain of where that came from. And so I think if we can possibly just look at it look at the park policies and see what those look like, and so how they work in conjunction with our ordinances or what have you.
I think I'd be willing to look at that. I do, when you say that, that comes to mind, the gender reveals, and I think a lot of those are being limited just because of the, trash that's been left. And, you know, there's a lot of little parts that are left there for the, you know, for the staff to clean up. So it would be something that I think we could probably discuss.
Yes, I think so. And I was also, I learned how candy impacts our mowing and how it is a hazard. So I learned that today. So it is great. And it's, you know, something that was brought up to my attention. I never thought of it just because everyone kind of does piñatas at parks. And so it never occurred to me that there was a policy stating no piñatas at the park. So I just, you know, something that I want to bring up and we can think about and see how we can move forward to ensure that everyone's using the space accordingly.
That's interesting.
Anybody else?
I would like to thank the city manager for providing positive proof on which city council member actually did the polar plunge. Thank you.
That's Fred.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Fred, for going to the Polar Plunge and being the representative of this council and getting out there and jumping in that cold water. You're appreciated.
Yeah.
Chilly.
So,
Yes.
and the only other thing I have is I just want to say thank you for your patience on my nerves for tonight. This was the very first time that I was the person doing the leading here, and it is a lot different sitting here than it is sitting
To the side.
to the side. So I do appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for your support. So with that, we are now on to going into executive session.
Take it away.
Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I move to go into executive session to discuss the possible acquisition of an interest in real property and to provide direction to negotiators concerning such possible acquisition pursuant to CRS section 24-6-402 subsection 4A and E.
I second.
All right. We've had a motion and a second to discuss to go into executive session to discuss the possible acquisition of an interest in real property and to provide direction to negotiators concerning such possible acquisition pursuant to CRS section 24-6-402 subsection 4A and E. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're going into executive session. Thanks for coming, everybody. Get Tammy seated here. All right, we are out of executive session now, and we will hear from our attorney.
I'll note for the record that the council just completed an executive session. The scope of the discussions were within the scope of the statute, and I was also present, so they're subject to the attorney-client privilege.
All right, meeting